Good evening, Dhamma friends. Let me wish you the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem for a happy and peaceful Saturday evening. Let us begin the Sutta study class again. I think it's after 3 months. I was traveling in Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, Dubai for Dhamma programs and also other charity work, including the visiting families, friends, teachers, and so forth, so that I missed the Sutta study class for nearly 3 months. Now I'm happy that I could start it again with our Dhamma friends who are esteeming the Dhamma. So it's a happy state for me personally. I think everyone who joined with this Dhamma series would be really happy with the same idea. Wishing everyone happiness and peace. Let me begin the Sutta study class by paying homage to the Supreme Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. I pay my homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Friends, Saturday evening usually is dedicated for learning some Dhamma within this hour from 8 p.m. to a little bit of 9 p.m. This is to clarify certain terms in the Buddha's teaching and also philosophical, psychological aspect of the Buddha's teaching for the benefit of us. We are on the Noble Eightfold Path by practicing its main link, Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. And when we study the suttas, we can find relevant informations to speed up our practice on the Noble Eightfold Path. So that the advice came from the Buddha for fourfold disciples that we should refer to the suttas and also Vinaya in order for us to clarify the Dhamma, in order for us to study more on the Dhamma so that we can find the path easy and attainment to stages of peace and happiness would be much easier then. So this is the very purpose for us to have this Dhamma discussion, and I know all of you come to the Sutta discussion with the same intention. We are heading to another wonderful period with so many kusala activities, that is Vesak in May. Well before that we could begin the Sutta study class, so that I think better for us to go with some information about the Buddha and how he started his training in his last life as the Bodhisattva and what he was doing in order to get into the right path, and how he himself explained what he was doing in the struggle period. The word struggle means he was actually investigating the Dhamma by putting different strength. That's why I use the word struggle, but anyway, it is a kind of noble search. So based on that, I selected the Sutta Mahasacchaka, the greater discourse to Sacchaka from Majjhima Nikaya, because it tells what the Buddha did when he was trying to find the right tune for enlightenment. So that is one of the discourses in which the Buddha himself said about his own journey. So that I selected it because during the Vesak period, we tend to talk about the Buddha's own life and how he was doing when he practiced Dhamma, and also with the triple anniversary around it, we talk about the Buddha. So I thought, before you go to Vesak season, you better know this sutta and do some good in the name of the Dhamma and Buddha Dhamma and Sangha. So Mahasachaka Sutta is recorded in Majjhima Nikaya. The number of the sutta is 36. If you want to go and see it in details, you can have this information. So this sutta, in essence, is a very important discourse because Buddha highlights some wonderful teachings in the sutta. Some of the highlight is that he said that I was curious about what life is as a prince, and he understood that that the life as a prince is useless, so that he was uh, going for searching the Dhamma. Well, before that, one of the uh, main opponents of the Buddha at the time was Satchaka, and this is a conversation between Satchaka and the Buddha. Venerable Ananda was there with the Buddha, and with the kind invitation of Venerable Ananda, Buddha delivered this Dhamma in the name of conversation or dialogue with the Satchaka, and Satchaka was mainly listening, except few questions at the very outset of the discussion. So Buddha was relating all the important information in the sutta. So therefore, this sutta is a kind of autobiography of the Buddha about his enlightenment. So, but the other highlighted point is that he said that he went from home while the family members are crying, while the family members are not in agreement. So many people who have not read any discourse like this still believe that Prince Siddhartha renounced the world in the middle of the night while everybody is sleeping. It could be that he went out from the palace in night, but it's not a secret thing. It was not a secret thing. It was done while the family members were aware about it, but nobody came forward to stop him because the Prince Siddhartha was in a period of questioning about life, and everybody knew that from the very outset of his life, everybody knew that Prince Siddhartha was a type of person who always might go out, so that this was not a strange thing for them, but they were very sorry about it, but nobody could stop it. That's another highlight point. And the other thing is, the Buddha clearly said that uh, he was going from teachers to teachers at the very outset of his search, Alar Kalama and Udakarama, and he was telling what he was practicing there and what he achieved under those teachers. And the Buddha said that he realized after attaining to the higher stages of their teaching, he realized that they are not the path for what he was searching for. So he left those two teachers and went to the common practice at the time, that is self-mortification, dukkara kiriya in Pali. What is that? It is giving torture to this body intentionally, not eating, not sleeping, not having a bed, not drinking water. These things were done gradually, and at some point his body was like a skeleton, and he was explaining how severe his practice, self-mortification was. Nobody could practice into that extent. At the time, the sutta indicates that even divine beings were looking at the Bodhisattva for what he was doing, and they were in different opinions about the state of the Bodhisattva's mind. Some were saying that he attained to full enlightenment with this kind of body. Some were saying that no, he was not doing anything like that. He is so feeble. So at some point, a deity came to the Bodhisattva, who was so feeble physically, said that I'm going. If you are not eating anything, I'm going to infuse some divine food through, body here, so that you will be surviving. At this point, the Bodhisattva practice all kinds of methods of self mortification, including breathing-less meditation, apranaka dhyana, which something nobody can do as humans, according to the information. So the Bodhisattva realized that I practice self-motivation to the extent that nobody could practice in this world, but I didn't experience anything extraordinary. So he decided that this would be then this wouldn't be the path for enlightenment, and he changed it. Earlier, he practiced self-indulgence as a prince, and now he practiced and completed the self-mortification. These are the two extreme, as we taught in the first discourse. So the Bodhisattva realized that nothing worked. Nothing of these two worked, so that I should practice the middle path. The highlighting point is that he remembers. He remembers that this would be the path for enlightenment, the middle path. It means that uh, he started giving some relaxation period for the body. He ate, he sleeps, and he was following a gradual, a normal path. As a result of this, the five monks, what we call Panchavagya, including Kondanya, they left. They were not recognized as monks then, but they were mendicants. They left the Bodhisattva, saying that he has no effort anymore. He left it, and now he is not a significant person anymore. So they left and went to the they left in Siddhartha and went to the Sipatana in Varanasi. Bodhisattva was practicing the middle way from there on, and he said that he was able to, attain to enlightenment as a result of this middle way. Interesting similes found before that. The Bodhisattva was quite ready with his middle way practice, and he realizes important examples. There in the sutta we can find these three. The parable of simile of the wood. One wood is newly cut wood with water and everything, and the other one is not with wet with water, but it's wood with kind of uh, you know uh, sour and everything on it, and the other one is dry wood. So having taken these three wood, he himself understood that the priesthood would not be successful with lust, with karma, and if anyone in this world is trying to achieve something spiritual with karma thirst or karma raga, it's not going to work. Then he remembers the incident happened during his early stage of life. He quite remember that he was meditating for jhanic experiences, and he concluded that this would be the path for enlightenment. The sutta tells us that he was starting meditation on the full moon day of May in that year, under the particular tree called Bodhi tree. and he was able to achieve his enlightenment by achieving three knowledges in that night, and that was told to Satchaka in a beautiful way. Actually, the dialogue started with an interesting question from Satchaka. Satchaka was not a Buddhist, not a follower of the Buddha. He was a Niganta Shravaka, disciple of Niganta Nathaputta, one of the revered teacher at the time with so many followers. So he wanted to dispute and disregard the Buddha and his teaching and whoever follows the Buddha's teaching. So his intention was not something wholesome. Anyway, out of compassion, Venerable Ananda requested the Buddha to sit down and have a chat with him. So that is how the conversation started. And the main concern the Satchaka had was uh, bodily cultivation and mental cultivation. When we read the sutta, we can find these two terms, kaya bhavana and chitta bhavana. So bodily kaya bhavana is the development of the body through any practice, and chitta bhavana, mental cultivation, is as you know, the development of the mind. So this interesting question made the Buddha to utter so many wonderful things, including his own quest for enlightenment. And we can see that Satchaka was speechless just because he doesn't know anything about it. Uh, so that we can have a wonderful piece of Dhamma from this discourse, thanks to Satchaka actually, and also Venerable Ananda. I would like to read some parts of it. As I said, there are some highlights points. It's a relatively long discourse, though it is in the Majjhima Nikaya, due to the information given in it. However, I request you to read it slowly and carefully in a leisure time, because once you read it, you know what this sutta is from your own experience. Right now, it's my presentation, maybe some of our friends' presentation, and only those two couple of channels you come to know about the sutta. But if you read it yourself, I think you don't miss many. Um, Let me start with this. This sutta, uh, you know, was uttered by the Buddha when he was Vaishali. It's called Gabble Hall in the Great Forest. Even today, you can see the ruins of this particular building in Vaishali. Uh, as you know, the Buddha, along with Venerable Ananda, was ready to go on Pindapata, but they realized that there is enough time. There's more time to start the Pindapataram. At the same time, Venerable Ananda saw Satchaka is coming from towards them from somewhere. There, Venerable Ananda said that, okay, Satchaka is coming, Venerable Sir. He's such a person, so could you please sit down for a moment out of compassion for him and do some conversation. So Satchaka is an interesting character in the Buddha's teaching, because he was a very successful debater. If you read through many discourses like that, you can find uh, find about some people like that. Some were always doing debates. In each major cities, there were halls made for conversation, debates, sharing ideas, and those places were not used for anything else. Even the head of the administration sometimes come to those places for big meetings. So it says that the society in 6th century BC is always about dialogues, questioning, type of wisdom always is there with people. I think this would be one of the reasons why the Bodhisattva selected the time period for him to come and attain enlightenment. So everybody had such ideas, despite their caste and despite their social status. That is what Satchaka is. Satchaka's question, after the Buddha sat down on the seat, Satchaka came in and there was a friendly exchange of words between the Buddha and the Satchaka, and then Satchaka said this. He said, Master Gautama, wherever you find Master Gautama, it means that that he or she is not a disciple of the Buddha anymore. So if the conversation start with the Buddha by a disciple, this is not the word they use. Bhagava, Tathagata, basically Bhagava. That is the word many people use if they are accepting the Buddha as a spiritual leader or teacher. Here we find Master Gautama. This is the question. There are certain recluses and Brahmins who dwell devoted to bodily cultivation, Kaya Bhavana, but not to mental cultivation, Chitta Bhavana. So some recluses are dedicated their time and energy for bodily cultivation. Because of that, painful feeling touch their bodies because they try to develop their body. Therefore, there is a painful feeling in their bodies. This means actually a type of self-mortification or any practice that gives torture to this body is mean by this statement. Then in the past, Master Gautama, when one is touched by bodily painful feeling, there would be a leg cramps, the heart would burst and hot blood gush out of the mouth, and one would go mad, lose the mind. So these things could happen if one go to the very extreme of this bodily cultivation. So it's basically this type of bodily cultivation he talks about gives people pain, and because it could make you mad, and so many things could happen. So then what is the this Master Gautama is for one whose body follows the mind and falls under the power of the mind. What is the reason for this? It is because of not cultivating the body. But Master Gautama, there are certain recluses and Brahmin who dwells devoted to the practice of mental cultivation, but not bodily cultivation. So one section of the recluses are there who devoted their time and energy for bodily cultivation. Another sect is there, couple of sects, or maybe a lot of people are there who practice mental cultivation, but they do not practice bodily cultivation. So therefore, the second category always experience mental painful feeling because their focus is mental cultivation. So having said this, the Satchaka says, surely Master Gautama's disciple dwell devoted to the practice of mental cultivation, but not of bodily cultivation. Having introduced these two, Satchaka said to the Buddha, I believe Master Gautama's disciple practice mental cultivation. This conversation shows that Satchaka knows about something about the Buddha and Buddha's practice and disciples' practice, but quite not sure about what he means by bodily cultivation and mental cultivation, because his understanding about those two is different from what Buddhist teaching says. Anyway, now we can see the Buddha's point of view, Buddha's understanding about what Satchaka says. Satchaka is his first name, and his family name or the clan's name would be Agivesana. So the Buddha used the word Agivesana, just like today we use family surnames. Sometimes we use Mr. and Mrs. so and so. Likewise, the Buddha sometimes uses their last name, so he used the word Agivesana. What have you learned about bodily cultivation? The Buddha asked. There are Master Gautama, those such as these, that is to say, Nandavacha, Kisa, Sankicha, and Makliko. So, when the Buddha asked what you know about the bodily cultivation, Satchaka mentioned few names who practice these bodily cultivation according to his understanding up to the highest extent. They all practice self-mortification. In the Sutta, you can find what they have been doing. They are naked ascetic, and their habits are very low according to our understanding. They were not eating by their hand. They were not putting their food on plates but on the floor. They were even not accepting food for ladies, young people, and pregnant women. There was so many practices like that in their training. Basically, that talks about the self mortification. So, according to Satchaka, this is bodily cultivation. In other words, friends, when somebody as priest do not eat much because of their practice, do not sleep, do not wash their body, they grow their hair to the uh, to the floor, and they are living with dust. Even today you can find these type of people from different part of India. So people uh, are to think that they are wholesome, because these people do not engage with any household activities, no any activity as normal people do, so that people think that they are holy. But even Satchaka says this, that is what he means bodily cultivation. So Buddha's question is, uh, do they actually live on so little? I mean, the consumption, food and other things. No, Venerable Master Gautama, sometimes they eat a lot, sometimes they eat fine food, sometimes they eat a lot of things, sometimes they do not, and so forth. So, in essence, what they were doing is developing their bodies. But Agivesana or Satchaka, they have abandoned earlier. They have then they later accumulate again. So basically, Buddha question: at some point, for a certain period of time, they do not do anything like eating, drinking, sleeping, and so on. But after a couple of months, they start doing all kind of those things like sleeping, eating well, and go to monasteries where they find comfort and so forth. So basically, Buddha is saying that let's say 6 months they are practicing self mortification, seeking supreme happiness, and in the other 6 months they were not doing that. So which is wrong anyway. Sometimes you believe one thing, the other time you don't believe that particular thing. Satchaka now is not able to actually give an answer quickly. Then Buddha asked, what have you learned about mental cultivation, chitta bhavana? Then you know Satchaka was not saying anything. Then the Buddha speaks, Satchaka, um, uh, Satchaka or Agvesana, what have you earlier spoken of as being the bodily cultivation in the discipline of the Noble One is not the bodily cultivation, that is Dhamma based in accordance with the discipline of the. So, since Satchaka is not answering for any question. Buddha is continuously telling certain things about how he think about the question. Uh, Bodily cultivation in your understanding is quite different from the bodily cultivation in the Dhamma and Vinaya. And the mental cultivation, as you speak, is different from what I am talking about with the mental cultivation. Now, Satchaka, listen and pay close attention. I'm going to speak to you about these two, bodily cultivation and mental cultivation, based on the Dhamma and Vinaya. This is how the Buddha started his important, conversation with the Dhamma. Uh, um, this is what he says. Satchaka, how is one uncultivated in body and uncultivated in mind? Here, pleasant feeling arises in an ordinary person. Okay, when this pleasant feeling arises in that particular ordinary person, he is infatuated with pleasure and goes on being infatuated with pleasure, which means he uh, he overwhelmed with pleasant feeling, because he is a ordinary person who doesn't know anything about mental cultivation or anything like that. Because of the pleasure, he is infatuated with pleasure, and he experiences that in a numerous ways. Um, with the ending of the but the problem is, with the ending of pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling arises in his mind, because he doesn't know anything about uh, like going away from a pleasant feeling and unpleasant. What he does, what he knows, only enjoying pleasant feeling. Then when pleasant feeling ends, he experiences painful feeling. um, then when painful feeling arises and exists in his mind, he sorrows, grieves, laments, weep, beats his breast, and fall into confusion. So Satchaka, uh, when a recent pleasant feeling is there, overwhelm his mind and remain like that, that is because of uncultivated body. So when pleasant feeling arises and exists in his mind, it is because of uncultivated body. He doesn't know about his body. That's why when he has pleasant feeling in his body, he think that it is the utmost happiness, because he doesn't know about ending of pleasant feeling. When painful feeling overwhelm his mind and remains there, it is because of uncultivated mind. So painful feeling is also subject to verification, and when one experiences painful feeling, if he is wise or if she is wise, he might not be having such pain over there in that moment, because he knows or she knows that this is also impermanent. This is not going to be with me all the time, so that at that moment he or she could be able to control his or her mind. So basically, Buddha says that when pleasant feeling arises, it exists, it goes to the extreme point, because he has not practiced his body well. When painful feeling arises in his mind uh, and overwhelmed with it, he is going to actually have uncultivated mind, because he doesn't know how to react to it. So this is a kind of conversation the Buddha had with Satchaka. Then and there he said about how cultivated in both body and mind, right? So the other way around, when pleasant feeling arises in the person, in the wise person, he knows how to deal with. He knows how to deal with unpleasant feeling too. Because of this knowing, he or she is able to, uh, you know, uh, stay away from the power of pleasant feeling and also unpleasant feeling. When you have pleasant feeling, normally people become a slave of it. But when the wise person has pleasant feeling, he's not going to be a slave of the pleasant feeling, because he knows that this pleasant feeling is such. When unpleasant feeling arises, due to his intelligence, he knows that this unpleasant feeling is also going to end, so that he has already done sort of practices for unpleasant feeling. So uh, these are the basic layers of the Dhamma for Satchaka, and after that, Buddha admonishes Satchaka further. Now, I believe in Master's, Satchaka says, I believe Master Gautama now. For Master Gautama is cultivated both in body and mind. Then the Buddha said, yes, surely these words of you have spoken are rather personal and bold. I shall nevertheless explain it to you. Buddha said, I can see that you are saying that I practice both body and mind cultivation, but I know what you mean. You doesn't know anything about it. Let me tell you what I did in my training. There we can see that Buddha related a very beautiful, story of him, uh, starting with, I have shaven my hair and beard, worn the yellow robe, and gone forth from house into homelessness. It has indeed not been possible at all for any reason, pleasant feeling to overwhelm my mind and remain, nor for any reason, painful feeling to overwhelm my mind and remain. So, Buddha said that I. Uh, I went from home to homelessness, and it is a moment that I was experiencing pleasant feeling, and suddenly, physically, if we talk about physical aspect, I was going to experience painful feeling, but uh, my mind did not get caught to any lust, any desire when I was having that luxurious life. And when I got into the road without any shoes, without all these facilities, physically that was difficult, but it did not overwhelm my mind. Because even before he attained full enlightenment, he had a lot of discipline. He had a lot of practice on those things that one should practice for enlightenment. So uh, the question from Agnivesan again: has there ever arisen in Master Gautama a feeling that is so pleasant that it could overwhelm the mind and remain? Has there ever arisen in Master Gautama feeling that is so painful that it could overwhelm the mind and remain? So they said, why not? The question simply means, Master Gautama, have you ever experienced pleasant feeling? And were you became were you uh, you know victim of it, or were you experience any unpleasant feeling, and maybe you become a slave of it? Why not? Then Buddha said about Bodhisattva, his quest for enlightenment, how he was living in household life. This is interesting. The household life is stifling, a dusty path. The life of renunciation is like the open air. It is not easy while living in a house to practice the holy life fully in all its purity, like a polished conch shell. What if I were to, there is a comparison between household life and priestly life. Household life is full of dust. Dust means problems, craving, defilements, because of so many responsibilities, because of attachment created day by day. It's going to be a number of issues. It's going to create a lot of frustration on people in household life. But compared to it, renunciated life, fully renunciated life is like open air. In the open air, you don't have any barrier. Likewise, in the renunciated life, you don't have any problem. So then that comparison is there. Then Bodhisattva, the Prince Siddhartha thought, I should shave my hair and beard, put on the saffron robes, and go from home life to homelessness. So we find that renunciation and uh, of Bodhisattva there. Uh, Though my mother and father wished otherwise and wept with tearful faces, I shaved off my hair and beard, put on the saffron robe, and went forth from the household life into the life of homelessness. So when the father and the mother and everybody else cried, disagreed, the Bodhisattva shave off his head and beard and put on the yellow robe. So quickly, I can tell you that he went to Alar Kalam, one of the renowned teachers at the time for mental cultivation. This is out of the tradition of Brahmanism. Brahmanism is separated from Sramanism, and these people did not accept what Brahmanism says. They were practicing different technique of meditation, if I use that word, for their salvation, and of course they were well in their practice. Alar Kalama, he was very famous, and Bodhisattva, but the Buddha said he went to Alar Kalama. Interesting thing is that the Dharma or Vinaya, whatever Alar Kalama taught, the Bodhisattva was able to catch them very quickly. It is said, lift reciting and rehearsal. Even with that, he was able to understand. When Alar Kalama started saying something with couple of words, the Prince Siddhartha was able to understand everything well before he finished the sentence. That was his marvelous skills, memory and skillfulness, and everything was there with Prince Siddhartha in order to get through the entire teaching of Alar Kalam Buddha in a short period of time. So, having heard the path of Alar Kalama's teaching, the Bodhisattva thought something interesting. I want to tell you this. Actually, Bodhisattva, the Prince Siddhartha, came to know that the base of nothingness is the highest of Alar Kalam, and he got the instruction for that from Alar Kalam. And well, before he was practicing it, he thought that not only Alar Kalam has faith, I too have faith. Not only Alar Kalam has energy, I too have energy. Not only Alar Kalam has mindfulness, I too have mindfulness. Not only Alar Kalam has concentration, samadhi, I too have concentration. Not only Alar Kalam has wisdom, I too have wisdom. So this is what the Bodhisattva said himself. If Alar Kalam can do it, why can't I do this? I can also do, because I have these 5 spiritual faculties: Shraddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. Actually, these Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya are not the 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 five things we talk about in the 37 factors of enlightenment. These five related to what Alara Kalama achieves. So the Bodhisattva says he had these five, that's why he attained to the base of nothingness. And I too feel that I have these, so I could try. So in other words, another interesting fact is that these words, faith, Shraddha, energy, virya, mindfulness, sati, concentration, samadhi, panya, wisdom, they were not invented by the Buddha. These words were in that society with his spiritual tradition. So what did the Buddha do then? Um, Actually, he found out all the right mindfulness, right concentration, right wisdom, Shraddha, and so from his mental cultivation and search, he was able to put the right meaning of for them. So, having said this to himself, Bodhisattva was able to achieve the base of nothingness in a short period of time, and he went to the teacher. Okay, I followed your instruction, and I got this. Tell me whether I have reached to the final, the highest position of your achievement. Alar Kalama was so humble, so happy to tell the Bodhisattva that yes, you have achieved the highest as I achieved, and there is nothing I can teach you. You should be you should be my equal. You should be, you should be given the same place as I do for my student. Then the Bodhisattva had that feeling that this is not there because he didn't feel happy. He didn't feel done so that Bodhisattva said to Alar no, the happiness, the truth I am looking for is not coming with this attainment, so that I leave you. And if I find something interesting, I will tell you later. But now I'm going to leave because your attainment, final attainment, is not a solution for the dukkha. The very word dukkha is being used by the Buddha as the Bodhisattva over there, so that he left. Please read the information, the whole entire sutta, and same thing happened at the Uddakarama Buddha's meeting, because after Alarkalama, the highest, most renowned teacher was Uddakarama Buddha. We cannot find particular places they were in, but we can assume that they were around Bodh Gaya and that area, but we do not know yet where they were. We cannot geographically locate the places where they were staying. Anyway, he went to the Karamutta. He was like Alar Kalama, stay with a lot of students, and his highest attainment was neither perception nor non-perception. And like before, whatever Uddakarama Buddha is telling, the Bodhisattva was able to understand much more than the Uddakarama Buddha says. That is his skill. Then uh, Bodhisattva himself said to himself, I too have Shraddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya, so like Uddakarama Buddha with regard to his final attainment. So I try my best, and he got it. And then he went to the teacher and said that this is how I did and this is what I experienced. Is there any other thing I could do? No. This is all I know, and you have understood it with a short period of time. Please stay with me, and I'm giving you the same position I hold, so that you have a lot of students. Then Bodhisattva said no. As he felt, he said that this is not the path for ending dukkha, and I would go out and find out the path to end the dukkha, and if I found something, I will come and tell you. So, according to this is out of the sutta, according to the stories from different societies, Buddhist societies, tradition, both Uddakarama and Alarakalama came behind the Bodhisattva a little bit to the gate of the place where they were, and said all their children, children like students, that he would be a special person. We should respect him. One day he would be the most important person for us. So bowing down, kneeling down towards the bodhisattva, they, according to some stories, they respected bodhisattvas and their direction. So that is out of the sutta. Anyway, so far we let to understand that bodhisattva went to two teachers, and he did not get anything extraordinary to end suffering. So he thought that he should go to practice self-mortification. As you know, he practiced self-mortification to the highest, and it is said in in, uh, in the discourse. Actually, at this point, the Bodhisattva remembers the parable of the fire sticks. This is what I said you in the beginning. The Buddha said that, Satchaka, I remember uh, three similes. They were not in my understanding well before this, but suddenly these three came to my mind. Suppose there were a stick wet with sap left in water. Remember this: a stick wet with sap, right in left in water. It's smeared with water, and it is a stick with sap. Okay, newly cut wood. The other wood was no. With this wet wood with sap put into water, how could we take and rub it together and get fire? If you take newly cut wood and you rub it together, you cannot get fire out of, because they are wet and sap with wet with water and wet with sap, so that it's difficult to get fire out of it. Uh, that is the first simile he remembers. Even so, when he remembered this simile, he uh, concluded it like this: even so, Satchaka, whichever recluses or Brahmin who neither bodily or mentally dwell aloof from sense pleasure, they are not going to understand anything important. Again, if you take wet with sap in water, these woods, you cannot make fire out of it. Likewise, with sensual pleasure, no any recluse can get their mind developed. I think you can understand the dharma over there. So the second simile says the stick wet with sap left on dry ground. Now this wood with sap is left on the dry ground, not in the water. So even if you take that kind of wood and rub together, you cannot get fire out of it, because they are wet with sap. The Dhamma is there according to it. Even so, Satchaka, whenever recluses or Brahmin who do not bodily dwell aloof from sensual pleasures, um, uh, they are not going to abandon lust, because those Brahmin who have uh, left the home life into homelessness, they are still having wrong view in their mind. Basically, this is what the Buddha says. the wet the wet wood with sap and in water is compared to normal average people. They live, they indulge in sensual pleasures, and they are not able to practice the Dhamma, and they cannot achieve any stage of enlightenment with the sensual pleasures because they are putting their whole effort for that. The second wood is not in water, but they are wet with sap, and they are compared to those renunciated people. They, of course, let go of household life, but they are still living with so many unwholesome thought in mind. With unwholesome thought in mind, they are not going to attain enlightenment either. The third simile is dry wood. If you take two dry wood without any sap on it, you can get fire out of it by rubbing them together. Likewise, the mendicants or the renunciated people, uh, uh, when they renunciated physically and mentally from all these belonging, their mind is ready to actually achieve those stages of enlightenment. These are the three similes, and the last one is really hitting his mind. If I want to attain enlightenment, I shouldn't have any desire in mind. Desire is the wet with sap and water. So we should take care of our mind well to avoid sensual pleasures. That is the beginning of the enlightenment. That is the starting point of doing something for enlightenment. That is why Kamachanda is placed as the first one in the five hindrances. Kamachanda, Kama Raga, and anywhere Buddha talks about Tanha, they are starting from the sensual pleasure. So it's so dangerous with regard to the path practice. So with that, nobody can move forward. So that is what the Bodhisattva thought there, and move forward. He thought that there, with sensual pleasures I cannot get it, without sensual pleasures I can get it, so that I should start self mortification. At that moment, he thought that self mortification is the very thing he want to practice to end sensual pleasures. So that is half of the sutta, I believe. I should stop here because I have taken the whole time for sutta study class for explaining this half of the sutta. I would allow you to speak about so far sutta. Um, this is the beginning of the sutta study class, so that and that the sutta we selected has a lot of information. That's why it took such a long time. Now, friends, take your time and share your thoughts about the Satchaka Sutta. Even without even those points we didn't discuss, you can talk. So time is for you. Yes.
There is no hand thing to raise the hand. Is there a symbol? Maybe
No,
you can
talk.
there?
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, sorry. Hi Bante, nice to see you after so long.
Yes, I feel the same.
Yeah, you look younger than before.
Thank you.
Anyway, so the I think the best part of this sutta is, I mean, most of the story we know how Buddha went through the austerities and how, but the simile is beautiful. I mean, you the external world you live in, there's a lot of defilements. You cannot really enlighten yourself. You have to remove yourself from the external stuff. So renunciation, and then when you come, still your internal defilements are there. Still you cannot. Then you need to get rid of that. My question is there a situation at the fourth simile? Is my interpretation. now the person who has dried, like completely dry their sap, and ready to, they can go back into the water. What happens if they put back into the water? uh, I guess it should not absorb water, right? I mean, once their defilements are gone, they can still be with the people when they walk to arms round. They are not getting sensual desires arising in them, because at least a certain Nagami level, maybe so Tapanna level, probably they still have. So the so I was thinking of this idea.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. When you have no sensual pleasures in mind, you don't find any problem of going here and there because your mind is like the lotus leaf.
Hmm.
It's dustless and no essence in mind to catch anything out, so that you are harmless. You remember what the Buddha said to Venerable Rattapal. Actually, when Venerable Rattapala came back from his meditation and requested the Buddha permissions to go to see his parent, the Buddha saw that he attained to full enlightenment. There is no problem for him going back
Ah.
home,
Hmm.
because Buddha knew that the father and the mother with former wives of Rattapala were ready to get him back to lay
Yeah.
life by pointing so many things. But the Buddha realized that the mind of Venerable Rattapala is completely transformed from average level to a supreme level, so that there is no harm can happen.
So the
Uh,
dry wood went to the water, doesn't really get wet anymore.
that's right. That's right. Because
Mm.
it's I think it's laminated. I mean, or covered with something that water never get
Yeah.
into.
I think Ajahn Brahm calls it a Teflon mine.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay,
So
Bante.
you
Yeah.
have no worries of anything if you make sure that you attain to enlighten. Actually, that's the very thing we should make sure. Try our best to keep the mind with the Dhamma, so that no matter where you go, you are going with the Dhamma. It's kind of shield
Yeah.
you created around you, so that the stones coming from different direction are not coming to you exactly, because you have already covered yourself.
So they say, when they say Dhamma, you'll be protected by Dhamma, meaning the practice of Dhamma, not the Dhamma you're listening or you don't
Yeah,
practice. You're not
yeah,
really, unless you apply Yunusu Manasikara. Uh, so the first two stages in enlightenment, they will still have sensual desire, right? Even say for the Sotapanna person
yeah,
and the Soatana Sakudagami, yeah, person too,
yeah,
they will have a little bit of sensual desire still left in them, right? So
yeah,
so
yeah,
therefore they still they are not ready to go. I mean, they probably they can go back to the I mean, but they may not be completely dry in the sense that completely not Teflon mind
yeah.
at that stage. Yes.
That's true. Yeah, those two persons, in essence, they have that sensual pleasures, but it's not going to activate it like our normal people.
Mm,
So,
mm.
because of the development of mindfulness and wisdom into a greater extent, they
The less
quickly
clinging, perhaps.
know,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they quickly know what is going on in their
Mm,
mind.
mm.
Uh, but the level of sensual pleasures in their mind is not comparable to the
The
sensual
ordinary.
pleasure of the
Mm,
average person.
mm, mm.
Yes, it depends on their character.
Yeah,
Some sotapannas might act just like average person, depending on their in their character. But some were very good in preventing themselves from any activation of sensual pleasure, though they exist in the seed level.
yeah,
I think yes, as you said, practice is the most important thing.
yeah,
For example, suppose you have medicine, tablets, pills, everything in your pocket,
yeah,
but unless you know drink them and put them
yeah,
into the
yeah,
body,
yeah.
you are vulnerable to any viruses.
Yeah, your headache is not going to go unless you take a Tylenol. You have it in a
That's
pocket.
right.
Doesn't
So
help.
we keep all the Tripitaka books around and have everything around, and unless we practice,
Yes, Nandi.
we are still quite open for all kinds of attachment, ignorance, and so forth.
So the Yoniso Manasikara is quite sharp in maybe, in other words, in the Sotapanna, right? He knows, that's the defilement, that's the sensuality I got caught to, then next time he's more careful, I guess. The ordinary person is, the difference is, they are, although they know Dhamma, he listen to Dhamma, but the Yoniso Manasikara is not sharp. They may have a Kalyana Mitra, but the third part is not so sharp.
Yeah.
I believe.
I always compared the Yoniso Manasikara into a flashlight in darkness. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, so you cannot go anywhere in the darkness without a flashlight. So with flashlight, you see the objects around you, and you can walk without any harm to the point you expect to. So with Yoniso Manasikara, you are safe actually.
Yeah.
So with of the Sotapanna, it is well made always. But before Sotapanna, you are having it, but you should be careful to charge the batteries of the flashlight always to make the light luminous in order for you to see things around. So by listening to Dhamma, by reading the Dhamma, by meditating, you are charging the batteries of the flashlight.
So the Arahat works in the daylight, so they doesn't need a flashlight anymore.
They can they have light everywhere, no worries at all.
Thank you, Bande. I'll let others talk also.
Can
Is
I
there
talk,
anyone?
Bande?
Yes.
Can I talk?
Yeah, why not? Yes, please. Good morning to you.
This is something I noted in the Sutta. We have not been able to discuss today. How can I explain it? In the run-up to the attainment of arahantship, or eventually after that Buddhahood, I see that Bodhisattva has not resorted to formless meditative absorptions. Only the Rupa Dhyana, thereafter the Asavakya. There's no Arupa Dhyana in that Sutta.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Ante?
Yeah, in many suttas, you don't find the Arupa Jhana in the list, but in some suttas, Arahantman, when it is described as Cheto Vimutti and Panya Vimutti, you see the four formless jhana also included. And if you can say the entire the path for enlightenment, for example, Noble Eightfold Path, in the Samma Samadhi section, you don't find Arupa Jhana at all. There are only fourfold Rupa Jhana. I think it is the four Arupa Jhanas are additional skills that you need to develop, basically on the path to nirvana, because we don't see anyone who attain to nibbana does anything, any practice to do, because it is said that everything has been done right now, nothing there is nothing to be done. So those who go on to that direction, because going to the enlightenment, we have two paths, Cheto Vimutti, Panya Vimutti, they are called Ubato Bhaga, and Panya Vimutta, Kaya Sakki, Dittipa. There are categories of people who experience the full enlightenment. Some do not practice formless jhana. It's an additional thing. If I give kind of examples for the better understanding of this, it's like you pass your degree with optional courses. It's not they are optional. You either can avoid them or you can do if you find enough time. After the degree, you would be better in finding jobs because you had done additional courses, and you are regarded as a fully fledged experienced person academic wise, so that there would be some sort of advantage. But you are considered a graduate, you are considered as a professional. from the level they expect. Likewise, if the attainment to enlightenment requires this and that, that is the thing Buddha recommended basically. But these formless jhanas are because when according to the tradition, Theravada tradition, you are going to attain them right after 4 jhanas. Nobody, Buddha never recommended attainment of formless jhana before the 4 jhana. So I think why this happened? Because the one who attained to four jhanas are well in his or her training, so that they can go to Akasananchayatana, Vinyananchayatana, Akinchanayatana, Nevasanyayatana without any doing mistakes in their practice. Those who go to Akasananchayatana, Vinyananchayatana and other tools without practicing 4 jhanas, they are out of the instruction, out of the Noble Eightfold Path. That's why Buddha carefully recommended these 4 right after 4 jhana. I think my simple answer is there are additional skills, but we can include them if them into our training if we do them right after Samma Samadhi. As you know, Samadhi Parikkara Sutta and many suttas tells, even Mahachattari Sutta, attainment to 4 jhanas means you have completed the other 7 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path into a greater level. So there is a security for now, if you have enough time, if you want to do that, to practice 4 formless jhanas, because you have gone through the Noble Eightfold Path into the level of Samadhi, which means the culmination of Panya is also done extensively, so that you are ready to practice Akasananchayatana and other 3, so that you can get into cessation of feeling and perception, which means Sanya, Vedeta, Nirodha, and attainment, confirm yourself in the enlightenment. That's what I think at this moment, but if I find something else, I would actually share with you.
It appears from the Sutta,
Yeah.
under Alarakalama and Uddhakarama Putta, the Bodhisattva has practiced the formless jhana.
Yeah.
Then finally, he abandoned them, or he thought it is not necessary. He wanted to find it on his own.
Yeah.
Is it? Now, in that particular night, when he became the Arahant and the Lord Buddha, he did not use the formless dhyana, only the Rupa dhyana.
Yeah,
even though he
because
had practiced it earlier, he did
the
not use it.
yeah, the reason is that the Bodhisattva tells himself that at the time I meditated as a young boy under that tree, particularly rose apple tree, that jhana, when I attain to that jhana, there is no sensual pleasures, no ill will, no 5 hindrances. So this would be the glimpse of nirvana, because if there is a state where there is no signs of any defilement, that would be the path for enlightenment. That's how he concluded. So in the attainment to Akasananchayatana, according to its essence, there is no such thing happen like in the first jhana, because you put your mind into a state of infinite space, which means your mind stays in a state of kind of no action. In other words, Akasananchayatana means sphere of space, means you put your mind into a state where everything, you put your mind into a state that everything is space. That's all you experience, which is pleasant, which is so nice, but you don't do that kind of elimination of hindrances like in the first jhana, so that they were not included into Samma Samadhi in the Noble Eightfold Path. Because and then he experienced them with Alara Kalama and Uddakaramputta. He realized that there is nothing like first jhana experiences happen there. When Bodhisattva decided that then and there, he did not know first jhana. But we can understand this from our Dhamma reading, that Bodhisattva realized that with this attainment, my mind goes somewhere and stay, remain without any problem. But when I come out of it, nothing happened. So that's why he said that this is not the solution for any causes of suffering, to end suffering.
Does it mean, in the bottom line, does it mean that you don't need the formless jhanas to become an arahant?
Yeah. There are arahants who never experience formless jhana.
So what matters in the first jhana is vivicheva kame, vivicheva akusale. Through that, you suppress the 5 hindrances. Then only you can do the asavakya. Am I right?
That's right. Every arahants had done that, because no one can attain to full enlightenment without having the taste of jhana. Because jhana consists of samadhi. So without samadhi, nobody can attain to full enlightenment. Even attain to a stage of sotapanna, you have a sense of samadhi completed. So every arahants know what 4 jhanas, but some arahants do not have that experience with formless jhana.
Thank you, Bhante. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. So time is 9:15 now. I think it's the time for us to end the Sutta discussion for today. We hope to get the second part of the Satchaka Sutta next week with some additional Dhamma. It's so interesting to have intellectual dialogue which support our spiritual practice, so that come with so many Dhamma elements in your mind. I know that many of you have read this discourse many times before, so that we could have a very nice Dhamma discussion next week. So thank you for coming, and merits out of this Sutta discussion be with you to enhance your practice, to experience the Dhamma more and more, and finally may be able to own the Dhamma as it is and be an enlightened person. With that in mind, let's say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.